I now speak the word, and the word becomes flesh. I declare today that a divine idea has chosen you as its vessel. You are not merely a dreamer. You are the fulfillment of a divine plan. You are the first billionaire in your family, and so it is. You see, abundance is not outside of you. It is within, like a treasure buried in the depths of your soul, waiting to be unearthed through faith, imagination, and fearless words. You are not destined to repeat cycles of lack. The moment you believed otherwise, you stepped into your power. And now, divine substance rushes toward you like a river breaking a dam, because the channel has been cleared. No matter your family's history, no matter the lack or struggle you may have witnessed, none of that holds power over you now. You are not bound by earthly appearances. You are governed by divine law, and divine law knows no poverty, no limitation, no glass ceilings. Only abundance, expansion, and perfect timing. Declare it now. I walk in wealth. I speak with prosperity. I live under the law of opulence, and the law responds. It does not delay. The moment the right words are spoken, backed by unwavering faith, the invisible becomes visible. The unseen takes form. The formless becomes your fortune. You may have felt fear before, but fear is faith turned upside down. Fear is faith in failure. And failure is an illusion when your mind is fixed on the infinite. You must no longer feed the thought of how or when. These are questions of the world. The divine blueprint has already been drawn. You are simply walking it out, step by step, revelation by revelation, with courage and joy. What you build will not just be numbers in a bank account. It will be empires of value, rivers of inspiration, temples of transformation. You will rewrite the story of your name. You will redefine what's possible for generations to come. You will make wealth look like a sacred calling, because that's exactly what it is. You are the seed, the root, and the harvest. Everything is already finished in the invisible. Now you are just catching up to it in time. Don't ask whether you deserve it. Divine inheritance is not about deserving. It is about aligning. And today you align with truth. You align with greatness. You align with overflow. Speak these words and let them carry weight. I am the first billionaire in my family. The way is prepared. I do not chase. I attract. I do not beg. I receive. I do not fear. I know. You are not waiting on the world. The world is waiting on you. Everything you need is magnetized to your spirit now. Clients, ideas, investments, opportunities, miracles dressed as coincidences. The right doors open before you, and you walk through them with grace, with power, with purpose. You are not becoming a billionaire. You are revealing the billionaire you already are. Abundance is within you, not outside of you. This truth is not a motivational cliché, nor is it a poetic phrase meant to decorate vision boards. It is a spiritual law. The source of every good thing you will ever attract, create, or manifest begins within your own consciousness. When you realize this, you stop chasing, you stop forcing, and you begin aligning. You begin speaking, believing, and creating from the inside out. The world becomes a mirror, a reflection of your inner landscape. If your inner world is saturated with doubt, scarcity, fear, and unworthiness, your outer world will oblige. But when your inner world is radiant with certainty, clarity, faith, and divine confidence, the outer must shift to match it. This is law. From the moment you were born, the seed of abundance was already placed within you. You did not have to earn it, work for it, or beg for it. It is not something given by the world, it is something awakened from within. Most people spend their lives running after money, relationships, success, or status, hoping that these external achievements will finally make them feel secure, powerful, or valuable. But they are looking in the wrong direction. They are seeking the fruit before cultivating the soil. They are working outside the temple when all the miracles happen within it. Abundance is not something you acquire, it is something you uncover. It is not stored in banks, buried under gold, or locked behind opportunity. It is embedded in your consciousness, encoded in your spirit, ready to express itself the moment you align with it. You are not lacking money. You may be lacking awareness of the wealth already within you. You are not far from your goals. You may simply be far from the inner frequency that allows them to flow to you. The answer is never out there. The answer is always closer than breath, closer than thought. It is inside you, waiting to be believed. You see, the world teaches hustle, but spirit teaches alignment. The world says, work harder, but spirit says, believe deeper. You can work day and night, build, push, chase, and struggle, but if your inner world is filled with beliefs of scarcity, unworthiness, or fear, all your efforts will produce frustration. But when your inner world is harmonized with abundance, even your smallest actions will be magnified, expanded, and blessed. This is why some people can touch something once, and it turns to gold, while others can strive endlessly and achieve only temporary gain. It is not luck. It is not favoritism. It is inner alignment. It is the law of the inner reflecting the outer. The subconscious mind is the womb of creation. Whatever you plant there will grow. If you plant thoughts of, I never have enough, success is for others, or I'm not worthy of wealth, then lack must show up in your life to fulfill that inner prophecy. But if you plant thoughts like, money flows to me easily, I am a magnet for wealth, abundance is my divine right, the outer world cannot help but shape itself around those truths. Your beliefs are not passive thoughts, they are commands sent out to the invisible substance that forms reality. And the universe is always listening. It doesn't argue. It doesn't challenge. It doesn't doubt. It simply responds. If you say, nothing ever works out for me, the universe says, so be it. If you say, I always win, the universe echoes, let it be done. There is no moral judgment in this process, only responsiveness. The law does not reward good intentions, it rewards aligned consciousness. So many people are trained to think that abundance is about grinding, competing, outperforming others, or being in the right place at the right time. But divine abundance is not about competition. It is about consciousness. You don't need to push others down to rise. You don't need to manipulate, strive, or hustle to exhaustion. You need to know. You need to speak. You need to align. The richest people are not always the most intelligent or hardworking. They are often the most aligned with wealth in their thoughts, speech, and beliefs. You cannot attract what you do not believe you can have. You cannot sustain what you secretly fear. You cannot receive what you unconsciously reject. So if abundance is not showing up in your life, do not fight the world. Go inward. Ask yourself, what do I really believe about money? What do I really feel when I think of wealth? Do I feel guilt, fear, shame, or unworthiness? Or do I feel peace, joy, and divine certainty? The answers are not hard to find. Look at your results, they never lie. Your outer life is simply the echo of your inner frequency. If you want more money, raise your money consciousness. If you want more opportunity, expand your vision. If you want more clients, more recognition, more influence, begin by becoming a match for those things internally. Feel them before they arrive. Speak as if they are already yours. Act as if they cannot miss you. This is not delusion. It is divine alignment. Abundance cannot resist a prepared mind. It is drawn to clarity, to confidence, to gratitude in advance. You must live from the future, not just for it. Begin to speak about your wealth as if it is already present, because in truth, it already is. Time is only a bridge between the invisible and the visible. But the substance, the truth of your wealth, exists now. Money is simply one of the expressions of abundance, but true abundance is far greater. It is peace when others panic. It is knowing when others guess. It is walking into a room and knowing the room cannot define you. It is the unwavering certainty that you are already complete. And from that completeness, everything else flows. When you believe you already have it, you stop resisting it. When you stop resisting it, you allow it to find you. This is the sacred paradox. When you no longer need it to feel whole, it comes. Because abundance responds not to begging, but to knowing. It responds not to desperation, but to faith. The consciousness of, I am already abundant, opens doors, moves mountains, creates divine appointments, shifts economies. You do not need more proof. You need more belief. Everything you see in the material world began in the invisible. The buildings, the currency, the homes, the businesses, all of them began in someone's mind. If the mind is where it begins, then the mind is where you must begin. Upgrade your mind, and your bank account will follow. Purify your inner speech, and your reality will recalibrate to match it. Do not be fooled by appearances. What is unseen is always more powerful than what is seen. There is no shortage in the universe. Lack is not real. It is an illusion produced by limited thinking. You are surrounded by abundance right now. Ideas, people, opportunities, and wealth are swirling all around you, waiting to be called into form. And your words, your faith, your vision, they are the summons. They are the signal. They are the open door. Stop waiting for permission. Stop looking for outside validation. Everything you need is already within you. You are the source, the magnet, the point of power. Begin to act like it. Begin to think like it. Begin to speak like it. The moment you believe that abundance is already within you, you shift from victim to creator. You become the cause, not the effect. The world is no longer your master. It becomes your mirror. Fear is faith in the wrong direction. It is the same powerful force, but reversed. Just as faith creates, attracts, and opens doors, fear blocks, repels, and destroys. It is not the lack of belief. It is belief in the negative. It is belief in loss, in failure, in rejection, in poverty, in sickness, in the worst possible outcome. It is powerful, because belief itself is powerful. The universe does not differentiate between positive and negative belief. It only responds to the intensity and focus with which you hold that belief. That is why fear often brings about exactly what one dreads, because fear is not passive. Fear is creative, magnetic, active. It is misused faith. When you fear something, you are rehearsing it in your mind, picturing it, speaking about it, preparing for it, and feeling it as if it were already happening. This mental and emotional rehearsal is a form of creation. It sends out a frequency, and the law of attraction, the law of vibration, the law of cause and effect, all divine laws, respond accordingly. They are impersonal and exact. They bring you what you expect, not what you want. So if you walk through life expecting disappointment, chaos, betrayal, or failure, that becomes your lived experience no matter how much you hope for better. The subconscious does not respond to hope. It responds to belief. Fear is rooted in the lie that you are separate from divine protection, that you are subject to chance, randomness, or the whims of the world. It tells you that you are powerless, vulnerable, and at risk. But this is not truth. This is illusion. Truth is that you are a divine being, operating under spiritual law, protected, guided, and surrounded by perfect intelligence. The moment you forget this, fear enters. The moment you remember it, fear dissolves. Faith and fear cannot occupy the same space. One must give way to the other. People often think they are being cautious or realistic when they are actually operating in fear. They worry under the guise of being prepared. They rehearse worst-case scenarios and call it wisdom. But wisdom is not rooted in fear. Divine wisdom is based in peace, clarity, intuition, and knowing. It does not shrink or panic. It does not say, "What if it all goes wrong?" It says, "What if it all works out better than I imagined?" You must recognize that every fearful thought is a seed, and seeds grow. The great shift happens when you begin to redirect the energy of fear into faith. Not by force or denial, but by recognition. When a fearful thought arises, do not fight it. Observe it, and then flip it. Speak the opposite. If the thought says, "What if I fail?" you say, "I am always divinely supported in everything I do." If the thought says, "There's not enough," you say, "I am now receiving unlimited abundance from unexpected sources." If the thought says, "What if they reject me?" you say, "The right people are always drawn to me, and I am loved wherever I go." This is not delusion. This is conscious creation. Fear often speaks loudly at the edge of breakthrough. It gets aggressive when you are closest to a shift. That is not a sign to retreat. It is a sign to keep going. Fear is the final test before the manifestation appears. It asks, "Are you sure?" It challenges your conviction. and your response determines what comes next. If you waver, if you retreat, the manifestation stalls. But if you stand in unwavering faith, speak your truth boldly, and keep moving, the walls break, the doors open, the miracle comes rushing in. You must understand the mechanism of fear to master it. It is a projection. It takes the past and projects it into the future. It says, "This happened before, so it will happen again." But your past is not your prophecy unless you carry it forward in your belief. Each moment is a clean slate. The divine does not consult your history when determining your destiny. Only you do that. Only your mind repeats old stories. The universe is ready to deliver what you believe now, not what you suffered then. Fear thrives in silence. When you keep it unspoken, buried or masked, it grows. But when you bring it to the light, speak truth over it, and counter it with divine law, it dissolves. Words are weapons. Use them. Declare, "There is nothing to fear. God goes before me and makes the crooked places straight." Declare, "I walk in peace, for nothing can disturb the calm of my soul." Declare, "Every cell in my body vibrates with faith and confidence." These words are not weak affirmations. They are spiritual artillery. They cut through doubt. They realign your frequency. They change the atmosphere. Fear also disguises itself as logic. It says, "Let's be practical." But the spiritual world is not practical in human terms. Miracles are not logical. Divine timing is not linear. Supernatural provision does not follow economic trends. The world will always say, "Be afraid." Spirit always says, "Be still and know." You must decide which voice to obey. The world trains you to fear. Advertisements, news, gossip, and culture feed fear. But your spirit knows better. It recognizes truth. And when you tune into truth, fear loses its grip. Do not wait until all fear is gone to take action. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move anyway. You can act in faith even when fear whispers. The whisper will fade. Faith becomes stronger with use. Every time you say yes to your divine knowing and no to your fear, you grow. Your nervous system recalibrates. Your energy shifts. The next time, it's easier. And eventually, what once terrified you becomes your new comfort zone. You do not eliminate fear by waiting. You eliminate it by rising above it. Your emotions are messengers, not masters. Fear is only a signal. It's asking, "What are you believing right now?" And your answer determines everything. If you are believing in lack, loss, limitation, or danger, your body will react with fear. But when you believe in abundance, favor, protection, and divine timing, your body relaxes. Your heart opens. Your mind clears. This is why spiritual alignment is not just emotional. It is physiological. Your entire being shifts when you shift from fear to faith. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot speak abundance and meditate on loss. You cannot declare success and visualize failure. The vibration will not match. And the universe cannot deliver what your energy resists. This is why inner consistency is power. What you feel, speak, and believe must align. Then, and only then, does the outer world reflect the inner harmony. Train your mind to expect the best. Not just occasionally, but habitually. Replace worst-case scenarios with best-case visions. When your mind says, "This could go wrong," you interrupt and say, "This could go better than I ever imagined." This is not Nava, it is strategic. The subconscious mind does not judge. It accepts whatever you feed it. And what you consistently feed it becomes your dominant vibration. That vibration writes the script of your life. There is no neutral ground. Every thought is either rooted in fear or faith. Every word spoken is either empowering or weakening. Every choice is either moving you closer to divine alignment or further into illusion. Awareness is the key. You must catch yourself in the moment. You must notice, this is fear, this is doubt, this is the lie of separation. And then choose again, speak again, align again. This practice becomes mastery. The deeper your faith, the quieter your fear. Not because fear no longer exists, but because it no longer controls you. You have trained your mind, armed your spirit, and established spiritual authority over your life. Fear may knock, but it no longer gets a seat at the table. Faith answers the door. Faith pays the bills. Faith walks into the room before you do and prepares the way. Faith speaks before the money comes, before the contract signs, before the audience arrives. It is the knowing that what you seek is already seeking you, and nothing can stop it but your own unbelief. Divine law overrides family history and past limitations. It is the eternal truth that stands above generational patterns, earthly records, and inherited beliefs. What your family has experienced, whether poverty, trauma, failure, or stagnation, does not define you. Those experiences may have been real, but they are not law. They are not prophecy. They are not permanent. Divine law is greater than circumstance, stronger than bloodline, and immune to history. It is the ultimate authority, and when you align with it, you rise above every earthly condition. You may have been born into a lineage where money was always scarce, where struggle was normalized, where dreams were deferred or never spoken aloud. Perhaps no one in your family ever owned property, started a business, or experienced overflow. But that stops with you. Not because you decided to work harder, but because you decided to awaken. You are the pattern breaker, the lineage liberator, the one chosen to embody divine law. And the moment you recognize this, everything changes. Not gradually, but instantly in the spiritual realm. Divine law says that abundance is your birthright. It is not earned through approval, effort, or generational wealth. It is received through recognition. The moment you declare, "I am governed by divine law, not family history," you begin to walk a new path. A path that is not limited by what came before, but lifted by what is eternally true. Your past is a chapter. Divine law is the book. And the book has already been written in your favor. Most people unknowingly live under inherited mental contracts. These are unspoken agreements passed down from parents, grandparents, and ancestors. Contracts like, money is hard to come by. Rich people are greedy. We don't ask for too much. Or, people like us don't live like that. These beliefs were not consciously chosen, yet they operate as laws in the subconscious mind. They become invisible ceilings, dictating what feels possible, acceptable, and realistic. But they are not law, they are programming. And programming can be rewritten the moment it is revealed. When divine law becomes your authority, you stop negotiating with limitation. You no longer ask for permission to rise. You no longer carry guilt for desiring more. You recognize that the source of your abundance is not your job, your background, or your family. It is the infinite. And the infinite is not bound by lack, delay, or generational trauma. It knows only expansion, overflow, and divine order. You may be the first in your family to step into wealth consciousness, but you are not alone. You are supported by unseen forces, backed by spiritual truth, and guided by divine intelligence. The same power that raised you out of former patterns will sustain you in new ones. Divine law does not elevate you only to abandon you. It carries you fully, completely, and without error. When you stop identifying with family history as your destiny, you become free to create a new legacy. Your story is no longer about repeating what was. It becomes about revealing what can be. You do not dishonor your ancestors by rising. You honor them by breaking cycles they did not have the tools to break. They did what they knew. You know more. And with greater knowing comes greater responsibility to choose differently, speak differently, and expect differently. Divine law says that you are not a product of your past. You are a product of your consciousness. Your outer life is shaped not by genetics or family income, but by the thoughts you consistently think, the words you boldly speak, and the beliefs you silently carry. Your job is not to fix the past. It is to transcend it. You do not have to drag your lineage forward. You simply have to rise, and they rise through you. Every time you make a new choice, you shift the energy not only for yourself but for all who come after you. Family patterns often come with emotional weight. Guilt, shame, fear of rejection, fear of being different. You may feel the pressure to stay small so others feel comfortable. You may fear success because it threatens to separate you from those you love. But divine law says your light does not diminish others, it activates them. Your success is not betrayal, it is invitation. And anyone willing to rise will find their own way, just as you did. You are not responsible for others' comfort. You are responsible for your calling, and your calling is not small. It was never meant to fit inside the expectations of others. Divine law placed within you a vision that surpasses generational limitations. That vision is not random, it is your assignment. And when you honor it, you honor the divine. You must stop rehearsing the story of your upbringing as if it is your identity. It was an environment, not a verdict. It was a classroom, not a prison. Whatever you lacked then, love, support, abundance, guidance, is being supplied now in higher form through divine channels. You are no longer at the mercy of what was. You are the master of what will be. And the only thing that separates your past from your future is the belief system you choose today. Many people believe that struggle runs in their bloodline, but nothing runs in your bloodline stronger than truth. And the truth is this: you are a spiritual being having a human experience. You are not here to survive. You are here to create, elevate, and expand. Struggle may have been your family's language, but you are learning a new dialect. One of grace, flow, and divine provision. You are fluent in faith. You are fluent in abundance. You are fluent in freedom, and those frequencies are far stronger than any inherited belief. You do not need to feel guilty for having more. You are not obligated to play small so others feel safe. You are not required to stay bound by tradition if that tradition was built on lack and fear. Divine law supersedes all earthly expectations. You follow the voice within, not the voices of the past, and that voice says rise. When you truly align with divine law, you stop fearing the unknown. You understand that divine inheritance is not about maintaining the familiar. It is about walking into the miraculous. And miracles don't require explanation. They require agreement. You don't need to explain your rise. You don't need to justify your breakthrough. You simply need to say yes to it. Generational limitations often try to reassert themselves. Old patterns, familiar fears, memories of lack, they may rise as you rise. This is not a sign to retreat. It is a sign that the pattern is breaking. Every layer of resistance you meet is a doorway. Walk through it. Speak your truth louder than the memory. Hold your vision higher than the weight of your past. Remember that divine law is your anchor, your compass, your foundation. The idea that success is reserved for others is a lie taught by history and reinforced by fear. But truth is timeless. It doesn't shift with the economy. It doesn't bow to statistics. Truth says that if you can see it, you can have it. If you can imagine it, it is already available. If you align with it, it becomes yours. You are not limited by who didn't do it before you. You are called because they didn't. You are chosen because you said yes. You are rising because you remembered who you are. Divine law is always active, always present, always waiting for your agreement. The moment you align with it, everything begins to move in your favor. Not because of who your family was or wasn't, but because of who you now choose to be. You align with wealth through spoken word and imagination. These are not mere tools of motivation. They are spiritual technologies. They are the original instruments of creation. Long before anything materialized in the physical world, it was first spoken and seen in the invisible. Every building you walk into, every invention you use, every fortune you witness began as an image in the mind and a word on the tongue. That is the pattern of manifestation. Nothing comes into being without first being imagined and declared. You are a creator, made in the image of the divine creator. And your tools are the same thought, word, and vision. These are your instruments of power. The spoken word is a command. The imagination is the blueprint. When the two are united in conviction, nothing can be withheld from you. The universe responds to the vibrational signature of your words and the emotional frequency of your vision. You do not need to see it with your eyes to believe it. You need to see it with your inner eye to create it. Imagination is the preview of your coming attractions, and the word is the bridge that brings it into form. Most people do not realize they are constantly creating through speech and thought. They say things like, "I can't afford that," Money doesn't grow on trees. Nothing good ever lasts. Or, I'm always behind. Not understanding these words are not observations. They are orders. The subconscious hears every word you say and acts upon it without judgment. It does not question, argue, or edit. It accepts, it listens. And then it gets to work fulfilling what you've spoken, especially when it is backed by strong feeling. You align with wealth not by begging for it, but by speaking as if it is already yours. You must speak wealth into your life until it has no choice but to appear. This is not about arrogance or fantasy. It is about spiritual law. The law says that what you impress upon your subconscious through repetition, emotion, and belief must manifest. So when you speak with authority, when you affirm with clarity, and when you imagine with detail, you are planting seeds that must grow. Imagine this clearly: you are already living in the reality you desire. Your bank account is full. Your bills are paid in advance. Your business is flourishing. You are giving generously. You are receiving effortlessly. You feel peace when you check your finances. You feel joy when you think about your future. You feel gratitude for every single transaction, because every exchange is a reflection of divine flow. This vision is not wishful thinking. It is a spiritual exercise. Every time you enter this mental space, you are activating wealth consciousness. Wealth consciousness is not defined by the money you currently have. It is defined by the way you think, feel, speak, and imagine around money. A person with no money can possess wealth consciousness and quickly attract abundance. A person with millions can live in fear, hoarding, and lack consciousness and eventually lose everything. The difference is in alignment. Alignment means that your thoughts, words, and imagination are in harmony with the frequency of abundance. Begin speaking daily declarations that match your new identity. Say, I am wealthy. I am aligned with divine prosperity. Money comes to me from multiple sources. I am a magnet for opportunities. Every day I grow richer in mind, body, and spirit. Don't wait until you see results to speak these words. Speak them now. Speak them especially when the outer world says the opposite. Speak them when fear whispers. Speak them when doubt lingers. Because every time you do, you are reprogramming your reality. The imagination is your sacred theater. It is the canvas where you paint the life you desire. Spend time daily imagining your ideal financial life, not vaguely, but vividly. See the exact numbers you wish to earn. Picture the homes you wish to own. Envision the impact you wish to make. Hear the applause of clients, the buzz of transactions, the joy of contribution. This is not fantasy, it is alignment. And as you practice this inner vision, your body will begin to shift. You will walk differently, speak differently, move differently. And that shift sends out a new frequency, which begins to rearrange people, circumstances, and events in your favor. Words are containers of power. When you speak from truth, your words carry creative force. But when you speak from fear, your words become self-sabotage. You must discipline your mouth to only speak what aligns with your desired outcome. Even in casual conversation, even in humor, guard your speech. Refuse to joke about being broke. Refuse to entertain stories of lack. Refuse to echo complaints about the economy. You are not subject to worldly conditions. You are governed by divine law, and divine law does not recognize recession. Every time you say I am, you are invoking divine presence. So choose carefully what follows. I am abundant. I am powerful. I am open to receiving. These are not just phrases, they are activations. They shift your vibration. They remind your subconscious of the truth it has forgotten. And once the subconscious accepts a new truth, the outer world must reflect it. There is no limit to what you can imagine. And if you can imagine it, you can align with it. The imagination is not bound by circumstance. It is not limited by current income, education, or status. It reaches beyond time and space. When you enter imagination, you enter the creative workshop of the universe. What you see there becomes your blueprint. What you speak becomes your decree. And what you feel becomes your magnet. Children do this effortlessly. They imagine without resistance. They declare with confidence. They do not question whether they deserve. they simply believe. Somewhere along the way, adults are trained to be realistic, which often means to be fearful, cautious, and limited. But to align with wealth, you must return to that childlike state of play, belief, and fearless imagination. That is where miracles are born. You were not given the power of imagination for entertainment alone. It is your tool of transformation. You were not given the gift of speech to describe your problems. You were given it to create solutions. When your words and visions match, and both align with your divine nature, nothing is withheld from you. You walk in a new vibration. You move through the world as a cause, not an effect. The more you speak truth, the more your subconscious accepts it. And the more you imagine the life you desire, the more familiar it becomes. Eventually, your inner world becomes so strong, so clear, so rooted, that the outer world must conform. This is not magic, it is law. Spiritual law is exact, impartial, and reliable. It does not play favorites. It only asks, what are you consistently speaking, seeing, and believing? Many wait to see proof before they speak boldly. But the proof comes after the alignment, not before. If you speak lack, you live lack. If you imagine struggle, you attract it. But if you speak overflow and envision wealth, you magnetize it. The energy you send is the energy you receive. Discipline your mind to dwell on the image of abundance. Discipline your mouth to speak only life. Discipline your feelings to match your vision, not your circumstance. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. And what once felt distant becomes normal. What once seemed impossible becomes obvious. Because when word and vision align, nothing is withheld from the one who dares to believe. You're not chasing wealth. You're revealing your divine inheritance. There is a profound difference between pursuit and revelation. Chasing implies that something is outside of you, something distant, something separate. Revelation means uncovering what has been there all along, hidden beneath layers of doubt, fear, conditioning, and false belief. You were never meant to run after abundance. You were meant to remember it, to awaken to it, to embody it. The moment you shift from chasing to revealing, your energy transforms from striving to allowing, from grasping to receiving, from doubt to divine certainty. The world teaches that wealth is earned only through hard effort, competition, endless striving, and sacrifice. But the deeper spiritual truth is that wealth already belongs to you by virtue of who you are. A spiritual being connected to infinite source. You are not trying to become worthy of prosperity, you are rediscovering that you always were. Your inheritance is not something you need to fight for. It was written into your spiritual DNA before you took your first breath. You do not earn it. You align with it. You do not chase it. You clear the blocks to seeing it. Revelation happens through consciousness. As your awareness expands, so does your access to what has always been available. Wealth in its true form is not just money. It is a frequency, a state of being, a relationship with the divine flow of life. When you are aligned with that flow, wealth moves toward you naturally. It finds you because you have become a match for it. You are no longer pursuing success from a place of lack. You are expressing success from a place of knowing. Many people spend their lives chasing something they already possess, like someone frantically searching for keys that are already in their hand. The more they chase, the more exhausted they become. The more they strive, the more distant the goal seems. This is because the act of chasing reinforces the belief that you don't already have it. And the universe mirrors belief. If you believe you are without, life shows you evidence of lack. But when you stop chasing and start claiming, the energy shifts. You are no longer looking for proof. You are living as the proof. Revealing your divine inheritance begins with identity. You must first know who you are. Not who the world told you to be, not who your past shaped you into, but who you are in spirit, whole, abundant, favored, limitless. When you identify with your higher self, your decisions change. You no longer operate from desperation or fear. You operate from wisdom and vision. You make choices not based on scarcity, but on alignment with your divine blueprint. This process is less about doing and more about becoming. Less about hustle and more about harmonizing with your true nature. It is not passive, it is powerful. It takes courage to let go of the chase. It takes trust to surrender the struggle and step into a state of divine expectation. But the reward is peace, clarity, and the effortless unfolding of what is already yours. Your divine inheritance includes wealth in all forms: financial overflow, creative expression, spiritual fulfillment, loving relationships, radiant health. These are not privileges for a select few. They are the natural state of one who is in alignment with their source. The limitation comes not from the universe, but from the beliefs and energies that block the flow. When those are released, what you once chased begins to appear, first as signs, then as opportunities, then as manifested reality. Letting go of the chase does not mean giving up desire. Desire is sacred. It is the language of the soul. But there is a difference between desiring from fullness and desiring from emptiness. The former is magnetic. The latter is repelling. When you desire from fullness, you say, "This is mine, I welcome it." When you desire from emptiness, you say, "I need this," or "I am not enough." The energy is entirely different, and the results follow accordingly. To reveal what is already yours, you must align your thoughts, your speech, and your imagination with abundance. Not someday, not later, now. Speak as the one who already has. Think as the one who already receives. Move as the one who already walks in divine favor. Every action, every word, every intention must come from the vibration of already having, not hoping. This is the great secret: what you act as if you already possess, you begin to draw toward you. You are not creating wealth from scratch. You are tuning into a frequency that has always existed. Imagine the radio waves all around you. Just because you can't see them doesn't mean they aren't there. You must tune your inner receiver to the right station. That station is called wealth consciousness. It broadcasts faith, gratitude, certainty, and purpose. When you are tuned in, the signal is clear. The static of fear and doubt fades. You hear the divine guidance that tells you exactly where to go, what to do, and who to connect with. This is why revelation often comes with clarity. You don't just receive money, you receive ideas, solutions, insights, connections. These are the currency of the higher realm. And when you follow them, wealth appears in tangible form. Not as the result of a chase, but as the natural outcome of spiritual alignment. You don't beg for blessings, you prepare to receive them. You don't knock on closed doors, you walk through open ones. Your inheritance cannot be taken from you. It can only be delayed by unbelief. The moment you remember who you are, the delay ends. The moment you stop identifying with lack, the flow begins. You do not need to prove anything. You only need to agree with the truth that you are already worthy, already chosen, already enough. The world will try to convince you that you must run faster, work harder, do more. But Spirit whispers a different truth: you are already it. You are already connected. You are already abundant. The work is not in chasing, but in remembering. Not in accumulating, but in uncovering. Not in forcing, but in flowing. The world shouts about hustle, but revelation speaks in stillness. When you live from revelation, you become unshakable. You no longer panic when things appear delayed. You do not fear lack, because you know it is an illusion. You do not envy others, because you know there is more than enough. You move in peace, speak with power, and walk with a knowing that cannot be explained by logic. You carry the frequency of one who knows, and others will feel it. They may not understand it, but they will be drawn to it, because revelation is magnetic. It shifts rooms, it attracts opportunities, it opens doors, not because you chased them, but because you remembered that they were always yours. This is the frequency of inheritance, not entitlement, but embodiment. Not striving, but standing. Not pursuit, but possession. This is what it means to align with your divine inheritance. Not to ask for what is already yours, but to claim it in word, in thought, in energy, and in identity.